Hey everybody, welcome to my podcast, Becoming Your Own VIP, Mind, Body, and Soul. I'm your host, Rebecca McCants, and let's get to it. So today we're going to talk about how you're the guardian over your five senses, the guardian of your gates, and what you allow in. So there are multiple forms of tolerance, as I mentioned before, of duality, the light and the dark, the two wolves. What do you choose? This is where seeking knowledge can aid you if you do not know and are on autopilot based on how you were raised, the environment you surround yourself with, and what you ingest daily through your gates. Your parents were the initial guardians for you. Then the baton was passed to you to take ownership of. Your parents did the best they could, and they were still learning and growing up, all while raising children. You experienced their story, all while your story was just beginning. Once you became the guardian over your five senses and life choices of what you see, hear, speak, touch, and smell, through your choices and the way you think, act, and believe, that is what you will harvest, tilling your soil. The minute you open the door internally to someone or something, to your mind, heart, body, and soul, they are residing within you, your inner sanctuary, your home, your temple, and your place of peace. Now that you have let that in, it impacts you internally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, socially, and relationally, in a way that can impact you on a deep level. Your habits, beliefs, traits, your peace of mind, emotional and mental well-being, and your health. There's a positive and or a negative with that experience, and it will become rooted in you. The light and the dark, the two wolves. What do you choose? What do you allow in? So now, duality. The minute you open the outer external door to someone or something, they are residing within your outer sanctuary, your home and place of peace. Now that you have let that in, it impacts you physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and relationally. Although it is an external, it is impacting you spiritually as well on a deep level. You have, again, your habits, your beliefs, your traits, your peace of mind, your emotional and mental well-being and health being impacted as well. Once again, positive or negative, and it will become rooted in you. The light and the dark, the two wolves. What do you allow to choose to allow in? If the roots are negative, toxic, and takes away from you versus adding to the internal or material world by someone or something that you have invited into your home, your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, it becomes a process to extract it later. Now, this part, it may seem like a PSA, and for the younger groups that don't know, PSA is a personal service announcement, but there is a point to what I'm explaining here, and it was only truly learned through experiencing this myself. And quite honestly, I continued to do these things until I finally learned. And that's a lot of us, right? We will continue on the path we want to do because it's fun, it feels good, or whatever the scenario is, whatever our reasoning is behind it, right? Love, even if it's toxic, whatever it is, we're going to keep on that path because we want to. We don't know any different. So now that I know different, I'm sharing with you now. So now consider the things that you have consumed, participated in, created, tolerated, and acted on daily that are negative, toxic, and takes away from you. Deading your sins versus adding. So just listen to a few examples. Think about the food. You have fast food, processed food, fried food, genetically modified foods, added sugars, processed oils, hydrogenated fats, refined carbohydrates, processed meats. What abuse and dis-ease has this caused and taken from you? Dead in your sins, diabetes, cancer, obesity, inflammation, and more, versus fresh fruit, vegetables, nuts, beans, non-GMO or healthy fats, herbs, foods that give life and heal and provide nutrients and minerals. Sex, infidelity, casual sex, pornography, masturbation, and orgies. What abuse and dis-ease has this caused and taken from you? Dead in your sins, sexually transmitted diseases, obsession with someone, unreciprocated love, betrayal, feeling trapped in the relationship, being addicted to the person even if they're hurting you or are manipulated by them, loss of self, your worth, and your value. Now, there's a saying that refers to the idea that you're sleeping with all of your partner's past sexual partners. I like to think about it, you know how I talk about we're in debt, kind of like Credit Karma. Well, we worry about our partner's finances, but think about the partner's sexual partners and the debt they're taking on when they come into you. Now, the thing is that it's not only the history of sexually transmitted diseases or emotional or physical or mental baggage that they carry. It's also the spiritual element of the spirits that they have exposed themselves to because they joined themselves on a soul level sexually. Biblically, sex joined and created a soul union. Having sex out of wedlock connects you spiritually to someone, even if it was casual or a relationship. Sex creates a soul union. And again, what is your soul? It's your mind, your will, and your emotion. So marriage was solidified through the sexual union for a reason. Sex also creates a child that embodies the soul union and characteristics, behaviors, habits of both people and ancestors. With no child created, the energy still created between the two souls and the individual now carry that between themselves, which is why sex can blind us on many levels. There's also something called soul ties that can also be created outside of sex. Soul ties. So I talked about soul union or union of souls, but there's also soul ties that can be created by friendships and family, etc. Right? I'll explain more on that later. But when you basically after that, I'm not going to go into this right now, but again, more details a little bit later. But what about versus if you're having a healthy sexual relationship where you both choose each other with mutual respect, patience, willingness, and to learn and grow together, resisting temptations and to build one another up instead of tearing one another down, even in the most trying of situations. You choose one another, and that lifelong commitment where you both build and have trust, safety, stability, and all that love truly is. Again, one of my favorite verses, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8. So now what about drugs and alcohol? Well, drug and alcohol use impacts nearly every area and aspect of your life. Now, what abuse and dis-ease has this caused and taken from you? Dead in your sins, such as engaging in an unwanted and or unprotected sexual activity, getting injured, assaulted, sexually assaulted, developing a tolerance for abuse, toxicity, avoidance, dependence, or addiction. Impact on your family, your friends, work, finances. Consider the excess and reflect on the fact that this is taking something away from you in a way that you are not even aware of until it's too late. Brain chemistry, diseases, infections, legal consequences, financial problems, divorce, depression, anxiety, and more, versus the healthy hydration, practicing healthy brain, producing healthy brain chemicals to, you can produce dopamine naturally by listening to music, trying something new and completing tasks, or serotonin, getting sunlight, exercising, healthy diet, meditating, prayer, scriptures, oxytocin, getting or giving a massage, doing something nice for someone, show affection, spend time with friends, and endorphins, exercise, stretching, breath work, and be creative and laughter. So these things, like I said, it sounds like a PSA, but the funny thing is, we've always been told right or wrong this whole entire time. It's just, of course, we're going to choose the fun. Of course, we're going to choose the feel good. Of course, we're going to choose the easy, and we laugh at those little PSAs and stuff like that. When we're grown up, don't do drugs. And they put eggs in a frying pan to symbolize our brain on drugs, and, we get it. We heard it. We saw it. But when you actually did the drug, it felt great. So what are you talking about? My brain's frying. So it's just one of those things where you're drinking and stuff like that, and everybody's having a great time. You're not thinking about eggs in a frying pan or any of the PSAs that you saw growing up. Not only that, even when you're faced with some of those consequences I talked about, legal consequences or a fight or depression or anxiety, well, once you have become dependent on it in some way, and because you only know the easy way to cope with it, also the fun way to distract yourself, to avoid the situation, you're going to fall back in that loop. And it's a continuous hurtful cycle. So you're hurting yourself, your body, your finances, your family, everything, but you won't stop the cycle because the other part feels good and gives you that momentary lapse until you pass out and the day starts again. But you never solve the problem. So you continue this cycle, and it's hurtful. All these things that I mentioned, if you're choosing the negative aspect, you're hurting yourself again in all areas and aspects of your life. And we've had those consequences knock on our door, and we didn't stop until finally we're like, man, I'm done. And then finally you're done. And, thankfully that does happen, but sometimes that doesn't happen for some people. So where I'm leading to is that, again, this is a war upon your soul. Again, what is your soul? It's the mind, the will, and the emotion. And your soul has been under attack. You're dead in your sins and under self-destruction. When we are running and avoiding the deeper level of healing our soul, it's asking us to review, where do we run to? What level of excess and domino effects do we succumb to? Avoidance comes in many ways, and I only listed a few, but you can also present in forms of the isolation, of tolerance, of workaholism, anorexia, or working out in excess. Review what you are doing that is extreme, toxic, abusive, and excessive as a signal for emotional and behavioral issues. And that's why. What are you consuming that is toxic and abusive as signals and symptoms of a sick soul? The mind, the will, the emotion. A sick soul is internal, and it begins to slowly impact the body as an external symbolism of what is going on internally. Diseases are just a mirror to explain a dis-ease within your soul manifesting itself physically. Your soul is not at ease. Healing yourself internally heals you externally. So I wanted to give you the etymology of ease, which is physical comfort, undisturbed state of the body, tranquility, peace of mind, comfort, pleasure, well-being, opportunity, at rest, at peace, and comfort. To help assist, to give ease, mitigate, alleviate, relieve from pain or care, render less difficult, and to relax one's effort. Your mind, body, and soul are not at ease. In a medical term, we also state diseased. No, this person does not have a physical injury like a broken leg. But we have witnessed the choices people make and see them change physically or through emotional outbursts and mental breakdowns. And all those addictions that we mentioned, drugs or food or sex, we see them in these toxic patterns, right? The thing is, by the time we see it physically, it's a sign of the root of darkness that has grown from a seed into roots that have grown and rooted down deeply into that person. They have been sick in the soul for a long time, and now it's revealing itself because they have not helped themselves. Now there is an outward sign for the world to see, and allows people to see what is hidden, and can allow people to offer services to aid them, help them, support them, love them. We lack knowledge of our soul and spiritual connection to the choices we make. And it's not just a one-time mind and emotion that we reason within ourselves before doing it. It is you taking a piece of your power given away, will. And it was easy to make the choice, then not recognizing the full consequence. So again, your soul is the mind, the emotion, the will. So by you reasoning why you should go ahead and do this thing you know that you shouldn't be doing, your mind, your emotion, your will, you're giving your power away. You're giving pieces of you away every time you make those choices that are hurting you, dead in your sin. So getting back your power will require where losing your power is easy. Darkness wants you to give up. That's just quite simple. Darkness wants you to give up. And we were taught to be strong based on a wounded teachers and teachings that never truly equipped us with the proper tools. The wounded teachings and trauma we did not realize were creating individuals to become weak-minded and weak-willed, lacking wisdom and knowledge. Simply, you are not equipped to understand or equipped to handle the blessings of your soul, no matter your age. To be strong meant to, in the worldly way, meant to repress those emotions and remain strong and tough. Stop crying. You're being made fun of or demoralized. Developing forms of shame and guilt of emotions that we were supposed to be equipped with to navigate and master in this life, not repress. Repressed emotions, months or years later, surface at the most inopportune times. That feeling of discomfort and unease bubbling up into the surface, feelings and emotions that make you feel weak, fear, worry, doubt. What do you do with no healthy tools or models to follow? Emotional outbursts leads to anger, conflict, abuse, things said that cannot be undone, and betrayal. Now you really feel weak and in despair or angry, volatile, like running, fighting, having no mastery or intelligence to handle this maturely. The missed opportunities, regrets, and consequences that are life-altering. Not ready to admit having an idea how to address what is going on in your mind with the emotions, and if not taught healthy ways, which is the light, we succumb to the unhealthy ways, which is the dark. And our will is weakened by choosing the thing that mirrors the pain inside as an emotional band-aid of the need for connection, to be validated, loved, valued, safe, and protected through those negative and toxic experiences that take away from us versus adding. We're choosing excess of food, drugs, alcohol, partying, sex, bad counsel, and the list goes on. We have all witnessed or experienced it in some way. Even in TV and movies provide these examples as well. You have the power to save yourself or to destroy yourself. You have the authority to say no and to take your power back, to open your eyes to what is supporting your destruction. You have a choice. The light, the dark, duality, the two wolves. What do you choose? You have the power to think wisely, the mind. You have the power to say no and choose differently, the will. What feelings are being evoked in a negative state and to choose positive emotions and will that then begins to affect your body and your outer world and the resources and connections that all were your blessings and tools to survive in this world. The darkness only wins if you concede your soul, the mind, the will, the emotion. If you choose not to utilize your authority, if you choose not to use your authority and power, you concede and the darkness will win. It's not who you are. It's not. You're not dark. You are an earthen vessel, and you're to review and look at what's filled you up. You are either drained or you are overflowing. Dead in your sins leave you drained, depleted, lacking, and in debt. You have given your power away. The ease, excess, overindulgence, laziness, pleasure, envy, gluttony, greed, lust, pride, sloth, and wrath. The focus on material obtainment of the physical things versus giving of kindness, love, and service. That's what's internal. There's a quote from Marcus Aurelius. What we do in life echoes in eternity. Look at the outer mirror if you cannot see it in yourself. You see it on TV. You see it in the lives of family and friends, the effects of choices made, the effects of those choices, those choice moments of pleasure, avoidance, fulfilling a deeper need in a superficial way. That one moment over a short amount of time or continued over a long length of time, the behaviors, habits, traits, and beliefs. How has it served you? If the roots are positive, loving, and add to you versus draining and taking away from you, it will create energy, motivation, and long-lasting success in all areas and aspects of your life. I'd like to consider our life as like a gym, constantly working out all aspects of the internal and external you. That means it requires work, commitment, dedication, consistency, discipline, persistence, development, skills, understanding, knowledge, wisdom, resilience, endurance, patience, compassion, faith, accountability, responsibility, and knowing and fulfilling your needs in a healthy way. The athlete ingests only what is good for the body. So now you are also mindful of what you ingest spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, relationally, socially, financially, and intellectually. The things that do not add to you, you learn and build up your character, your morals, your values, will, patterns, traits, behaviors, and beliefs. You're working out those muscles. You're building yourself up and strengthening yourself through, yes, pain, through, yes, sorrow, through, yes, trials, through, yes, challenges, through, yes, past mistakes. But you're building yourself up. And once you're strong, it's not going to be so hard each time, right? You'll become wiser and wiser, So more positive words and examples can be added here to describe all that you have the power to build yourself up, to be internally, so that your outer world reflects the beauty that's within. The chaos, confusion, pain, fear, worries, doubts, immorality, and all the other signs of darkness requires time for cleansing, clearing, and reflecting you at your best. Eventually. Even if there are life challenges that appear to you even right now, you have developed mental fortitude, a spiritual foundation, and structures to handle those challenges more effectively and mindfully, more in control of yourself to choose and to do and be better, to take the steps each day to do and to be better. You are only in competition with who you were yesterday. The other people, every time you're looking at Instagram and comparing yourself on videos and movie stars and whatnot, other people, they have their own things and battles to face, that you're unaware of. We are all on different levels and we have different internal demons to face. When you reflect not only on what is on Instagram or the material gain, but really think about the internal aspects that you do not see, the things they had to overcome and their journey and the future challenges they will eventually face. When you look at what your journey has already brought you and that you still even have more to come, you'll no longer compare yourself to others or be jealous or envious, because you have to be prepared for your own journey. We are all one. God is within us all, and we are all sharing a bigger story of redemption and loving our neighbors as we love ourselves. To be of service and to lift up and to aid, to add value and to love one another, because what you do to one, you also do to yourself. Again, the question is, what do you choose to allow into yourself through your gates? And how are you going to now stand guardian over your gates to protect you, to add to you, to value you, and to prove nothing to no one, because you are worthy and you are strong. And these challenges that we have faced, whether in love or life in general, they've shown you who you are not. And it is evolving you into a stronger person, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Your character, your morals, your values. You have a choice to evolve to the better, to be stronger, to be wiser, and to be of service by teaching others what you have learned, versus succumbing to the darkness and becoming in a worse state than you once were. You have that choice to take back your power and your authority. And yes, that requires work, where before it was so easy to pick up that glass and take that shot. But that is you gaining your power back. That is you gaining a place of understanding of who you are, that missing piece that we've always been searching for. It is within you. And it's time to remove all those distractions and the things that are not adding to you. And on that note, I'm going to end this podcast. I thank you very much for joining me, and you guys have a blessed, beautiful night.